Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be going over the NFL power rankings for the 32 teams ahead of week 1 of the regular season. This on another episode of At rank 32, we got the New Orleans Saints. Now, the New Orleans Saints, they're going to be pretty bad this year. With starting Spencer Rattler as the starting QB, Tyler Shuck as the backup option, it's going to be a rough year. Unless one of them develops surprisingly and very quickly. They still have Alvin Kamara as their lead running back, so he'll get a big amount of usage. Chris Olave is still there. The pieces are still there. It's just they're missing a quarterback. The defense is probably still going to be mid to maybe possibly bad. Tyrann Mathieu retired. It's not going to be a very good year for the Saints. They will still win a few games, but it'll be nowhere near like a good season. I'm saying maybe at most 7 wins. At rank 31, we got the Tennessee Titans. Last time's ranking also 31. The Titans, Cam Ward's looked pretty decent through the preseason, but regular season's a very different world, so it'll be very curious to see if he actually develops into a true good starter in the regular season. Right now, he's decent, but not amazing from what we've seen of him so far. The one problem is that receiving core is kind of light. Calvin Ridley's the only really notable receiver he has. They lack a good tight end, lack good wide receiver too, etc. Tony Pollard is the running back for the Titans. Still pretty good. He had a good year last year. He should have a good year this year. The defense, I don't see being that great, but it could surprise me. At rank 30, we got the Cleveland Browns. Last time's ranking 28. The Browns, they're starting Joe Flacco this year to start out the year. And I think he will do decent. He'll win them a few games early on, but he will eventually probably be switched out for either Shadir Sanders or Dylan Gabriel. And then it's going to probably go downhill. The rookies will probably struggle just because the fact that they're rookies and they haven't played in the NFL before. And they're on a team like the Browns. The Browns roster is actually pretty decent. They got a decent defense with Myles Garrett, among others. But their offensive pieces are not that comparable to everyone else in their division. Next up, at rank 29, we got the Indianapolis Colts. Last time's ranking 27. The Colts, they decided to start Daniel Jones this season and decided that Anthony Richardson should not be their starter. They've still got Jonathan Taylor, a very good running back. The receiving core is still pretty good with Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, etc. Their defense, still very good. They have a lot of good pieces all over that team. It's just, I think what puts a cap on how good they can and why I think they'll have a losing season this year is just the quarterback problems. At rank 28, we got the New York Giants. Last time's ranking 30. Now, Giants, they still have one of the roughest schedules possible, and that really is going to be a challenge for them. But Russell Wilson is their starter heading into week 1. They got Malik Neighbors. They got Tyrone Tracy. They got what it looks like it'll be a pretty decent offense. And their defensive front looks pretty good too. I think this roster, if it was in another division, probably would be able to win one of the South divisions, or at least be a contender in it. But where they are right now, it's just they're not good enough to compete in their own division. At rank 27, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last time's ranking 29. Now, the Jaguars, their main improvement this year was they drafted Travis Hunter in the draft. He'll play both ways. Should be interesting to see how his health affects how long he can keep this up, or which side of the ball they'll use him more on. Additionally, Brian Thomas Jr. is heading into his second year. Very good receiver. This Jacksonville team, as long as Trevor Lawrence recovers from last year and the running game with Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby recovers. Liam Cohen, I have a decent amount of faith in him as the head coach for the Jaguars. He did great things with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year, so there is hope in that sense. We'll see how that progresses as the season goes on. I actually think the Jaguars, probably of all the teams down here in this area of the rankings, I think I actually have the most hope for them. At rank 26, we got the New York Jets. Last time's ranking 25. So the Jets, well, they're signed up for the Justin Fields experience, and we'll see how that goes for them. Fields last year played a few games for Pittsburgh, but was not their starter for most of the year. In New York, he'll be working with Garrett Wilson, who is a very good receiver, who sort of got sidelined last year because of Aaron Rodgers. Breece Hall is still in New York, very good running back. I think that combination with Justin Fields' running ability should be kind of interesting. On defense, they still got Sauce Gardner and other good pieces. I think that defense should rebound from the down year they had last year. But the Jets, unfortunately, are in the AFC East with the Patriots, Dolphins, and Bills. It's a very hard place to exist. At rank 25, we got the Las Vegas Raiders. Last time's ranking 26. So, the Las Vegas Raiders. Ashton Jeanty is the future. And it should be very interesting to see how that goes for them. With Geno Smith coming in from Seattle to start at quarterback, it should be interesting. Smith on the Seahawks was decently well. He was a serviceable starter. I think, honestly, that is just enough for the Raiders that it could get them to a winning season this year, potentially, if things go right. They have the pieces, on offense at least. That defense is very concerning, basically everywhere outside of Max Crosby. So it should be interesting to see how good that defense is. I don't think it will be good. I think that's what will lose them a lot of games. At rank 24, we got the Dallas Cowboys. Last time's ranking 23. So the Dallas Cowboys, they traded Micah Parsons away, and now their defense is very suspect. I'm not sure how good that defense will be. I think it'll probably be very bad. On offense, you got CeeDee Lamb, and Dak Prescott, and George Pickens. That's the highlights of their offense. They don't have a true good running back, and that is an issue that I think they'll come to regret this season, not having a good running back. But we'll see. Maybe one of the rookies they drafted will develop. At rank 23, we got the Miami Dolphins. Last time's ranking 22. The Dolphins, their defense is going to be atrocious this year. A lot of people are hurt, a lot of talent left. That defense is going to be sad. On the other side of things, Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle, and Tua to an extent are the highlights of that offense. If Tua can stay healthy, if everyone can stay healthy on that offense, they should still put up good numbers. The issue being health and a defense which will probably let them down more times than not. At rank 22, we got the Carolina Panthers. Last time's ranking 21. The Carolina Panthers, honestly, they are in for an interesting season because Bryce Young, this is the year he has to prove he's developed. I think there's a decent possibility he has developed. He played very good at the end of last year. They got him a new wide receiver in Ted McMillan, and they did general things to improve that roster. Hopefully it's enough to get them a middling season. I don't, by any stretch of the imagination, think they'll make the playoffs or anything, but I think the Panthers' goal should be to shoot for a winning season. Next up, at rank 21, we got the Arizona Cardinals. Last time's ranking 19. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals are looking to have an interesting year where, worst case, they're one of the worst teams in the league. Best case, they somehow make the playoffs. It is a very wide variety of outcomes for this team this year. Kyler Murray still leads the offense. Trey McBride's still there. Marvin Harrison Jr. is still the lead wide receiver. It is basically the same on offense as last year, and same on defense. They didn't really change all that much. At rank 20, we got the New England Patriots. Last time's ranking 24. The Patriots, they've got a beautiful schedule this year. They've got a lot of games they can win. Drake May leads the offense now. They have two running backs, Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson. think Henderson will probably get the job, if not before the season, soon after the season starts. He looked very good in preseason. He's been very impressive. New England, on defense, should still be decently solid, but maybe not elite. Additionally, they got Drake May, Stephon Diggs now, so he has the potential to have an elite wide receiver. Next up, at rank 19, we got the San Francisco 49ers. Last time's ranking 20. The 49ers, their main issue is that receiving core is very messy right now. They need to figure it out. But if Christian McCaffrey is back, like is reported, and he's healthy, that team should be a playoff team, probably this year in the NFC. At rank 18, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last time's ranking 18. Aaron Rodgers is in town now. The main issue for the Steelers is they don't have a wide receiver after DK Metcalf, but they make up for it in tight ends. They got Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth. Now, another concern is running back. Is Jalen Warren good enough to be their starter, or is Caleb Johnson the man? We don't know. On defense, they should still be very solid, but defense can only get you so far in Pittsburgh, and defense gets you to 9-8. At rank 17, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. Last time's ranking, 17. The Bengals have not really changed all that much since the last ranking, to be honest. There was concerns about re-signing Trey Hendrickson. There were concerns about Shamar Stewart's issues with this contract. There were a bunch of things going on, but all of them got figured out, and the Bengals look to be heading into an interesting year. Next up at rank 16, we got the Chicago Bears. Last time's ranking 15. The Chicago Bears, like I've said many a time, improved the roster a lot from last year. Caleb Williams now has potentially 3 good wide receivers in DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and Luther Burden. He has a rebuilt O-line. DeAndre Swift is returning at running back, and he's got Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland at tight end. If that doesn't get him success on the offensive side of the ball, nothing will. Next up at rank 15, we've got the Houston Texans. Last time's ranking 14. The Houston Texans are in for an interesting year. CJ Stroud, still their starting quarterback. Hopefully he rebounds from a sophomore slump. If he does rebound, he has all the pieces to do it. Still, he's got Nico Collins, still wide receiver. They drafted Jaden Higgins. We'll see what he does during the year. And they brought in Christian Kirk from the Jaguars. Their defense should still be decently good. There are some concerns about that O-line, which I think holds them back a little bit. Trading Laramie Tunsil was an interesting choice. And there's issues at running back. Joe Mixon's been placed on the PUP list, which means Nick Chubb, for all intents and purposes, is their starter. At rank 14, we got the Seattle Seahawks. Last time's ranking 13. Seattle Seahawks, on defense, still look pretty solid. On offense, they got Cooper Kupp now. They got Sam Darnold now. They lost DK Metcalf and Geno Smith. It'll look very different this season. Jackson Smith-Njigba is basically the only part of the old offense that remains, which I'm not really upset about. Kenneth Walker also still is there. We'll see if he loses his lead running back role to Zach Charbonnet at some point this season. At rank 13, we got the Atlanta Falcons. Last time's ranking, 16. The Atlanta Falcons, the only real thing that is holding them back is quarterback play. Michael Penix Jr. is now the starting quarterback. If he is at least middling to good, this team can make the playoffs. At rank 12, we got the LA Chargers. Last time's ranking, 12. The Chargers, they brought back Keenan Allen at wide receiver, which, alongside Ladd McConkey and the rookie Trey Harris, should be an interesting combination. Their running back room now is Amari Hampton alongside Najee Harris. And their defense looks pretty average. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It could look a lot better, but it doesn't. The Chargers' main strength, I think, this year will be grinding out games on the ground. They have the O-line to do it. They have the running backs to do it. They shouldn't have to rely on Justin Herbert too much, which I think is good. He looked very good last year when they didn't have to put the game on his back all the time. Next up, we got the Denver Broncos at rank 11. Last time's ranking, 11. The Denver Broncos, They're heading into an interesting year. They came off making the playoffs off Bo Nix's rookie year as a wild card, and will they make it again? That remains to be seen. If Bo Nix has a sophomore slump, that could be trouble. But they also have the best defense in the league from last year, and I think their defense got better. Additionally, they did make a lot of moves on offense to try and get better. They got a new running back in RJ Harvey to try and improve the running game, and they signed Evan Ingram as a tight end for Bo Nix. At rank 10, we got the Minnesota Vikings. Last time's ranking 10. Minnesota Vikings, they're going to be very boom or bust this year. They're either going to be potentially a division winner or one of the worst teams in the league. And that is all on J.J. McCarthy, because that roster is amazingly talented. They got a great defense. They got a great amount of skill players on offense. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison when he comes back from being suspended for being dumb. TJ Hawkinson's still there. Aaron Jones is there. That offense is going to be electric if J.J. McCarthy is a good quarterback. At rank number 9, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last time's ranking 8. Tampa Bay, they're going to have probably a very good season. I say they're pretty good, pretty solid to be a playoff team, as a playoff team pick. They're in the NFC South. Again, nice baseline for how many wins you can get when you're one of the better South teams. Additionally, Tampa Bay has a great receiving corps. They've got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin when he comes back, Ibuka, who's they drafted this year, who could potentially be very good, and they got some other good pieces too. They got Cade Otton at tight end. He might have a breakout year potentially. And they got Bucky Irving at running back. So that offense is set. The defense, I think, will be decently good too. So they've got all the pieces they need to be successful, especially as an NFC South team. So Baker will have another great year. At rank 8, we got the Green Bay Packers. Last time's ranking 9. The Green Bay Packers got Micah Parsons. And that means they're going to be a lot better this year, on defense at the very least, which they kind of needed. They got Matthew Golden also through the draft, potentially a wide receiver 1 for that team. I think they'll be better on both sides of the ball thanks to what they did this offseason, but it's sort of on Jordan Love. Can he truly develop into a top 5 quarterback in the league? Can he lead the Packers beyond wild card round of the playoffs? At rank 7, we got the Washington Commanders. Last time's ranking 7. The Commanders, they're coming off a year where they made the playoffs. Not only made the playoffs, but the NFC Championship game. The playoffs are the goal. Not just the playoffs are the goal, the Super Bowl is the goal. Because you just came off a year where you were not expected to do anything and you went all the way, almost all the way. You have an improved roster. You got Deebo Samuel alongside Terry McLaurin now. You have all the pieces you need. At rank 6, we got the LA Rams. Last time's ranking 5. The Rams had a bit of an injury scare with Matthew Stafford. But they got Devontae Adams. They signed Kyron Williams to a long-term deal. They got Puka. All the pieces are there on offense to have an amazing season. On defense, that front 7 looks amazing. The safeties look amazing. The issue is the cornerback room. The Rams' cornerback room is a bunch of decent cornerbacks, but no one really good. That, I think, will burn the Rams a few times this season. At rank 5, we got the Kansas City Chiefs. Last time ranking 4. The Chiefs should have a very good year. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, they're both back. They should have a very good season, hopefully rebounding from last year. At rank 4, we got the Buffalo Bills. Last time's ranking 3. The Bills had a great year last year. And now this year, they're likely going to have another great year. The schedule is very favorable to the Bills. They could win every game if they're really good. The receiving core leaves a lot to be desired still because the Bills somehow don't know how to get a number 1 wide receiver. The tight end room, also a bit to be desired. James Cook's still the running back, so that's pretty solid. The defense, well, it's average. I'm not going to lie. It could be a lot better, but it isn't. So, once again, it comes down to Josh Allen. If he plays as amazing as he has, the Bills could go all the way. At rank 3, we got the Detroit Lions. Last time's ranking 6. The Detroit Lions look very good this year. They still got Jared Goff, they still got Sam Laporta, they still got Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Amon-Ra, etc., etc., etc. The list of their roster looks amazing. It's can they put it together and stay healthy, which is the biggest thing. Injuries destroyed them last year, but can they stay healthy this year? We'll find out. The Lions, again, probably a solid lock for the playoffs, especially in the NFC. But the real question is where do they fall inside of the playoffs? Do they win the division? Green Bay will probably make that hard for them this year, but it all depends. At rank 2, we get the Baltimore Ravens. Last time's ranking 2. The Ravens had a very good year last year, and I think they'll make the playoffs again this year. Obviously, on offense, they still have Derrick Henry, they still have Zay Flowers, they still have Lamar Jackson. Nothing's really changed there. On defense, they got Jair Alexander now. They drafted another safety to line up alongside Kyle Hamilton. They should be set on defense too. At rank 1, we got the Philadelphia Eagles. Last time's ranking 1. The Eagles still have probably the best roster in the NFL. That has not changed. They got Saquon Barkley still. They still got Jalen Hurts. They still got A.J. Brown. They've had some defections from the defense, most notably C.J. Gardner-Johnson, in my opinion. And those people will be missed. Hopefully the defense stays as good as it was last year, and they'll be the favorite to win the Super Bowl unless something tragic happens. With that being said, guys, please like, share, subscribe down below, comment what you think, and I'll see you next time.